Hi friends, it's Ashley and welcome back to the channel. So today's video is another reading vlog, and in today's video we are going to be continuing series that I'm in the middle of because I don't know about anyone else, but I feel like lately I've just been very bad at continuing series, and that was something I wanted to be better at this year. And I started the year off strong by reading the sequel to Nightweaver, this one right here, Star Chaser, back in January, but then since then I haven't really done very well at continuing other series. I've continued like a couple cozy fantasy series, but that's about it. And so in today's video, we are going to try to fix that. And I don't know exactly how many series I'm in the middle of. I just know it's a lot. It's probably over 30. Like, I know I'm in the middle of a bunch of series. And so we're going to read some in this video. And so the plan is to hopefully finish some series, because I do have some series where I just have to read one more book and then I'm done. And then to also catch up in some series, because I have some where I just have to read the most recently published book and then I'll be caught up in the series. And so the book I'm going to start off with first is The Demon in the Light by Axie O. And so this is the second and final book in a YA fantasy duology, with the first book being The Floating World. And I read this one last year. I loved it. This was actually my favorite book of the year last year. And so I really need to read the second one because I really want to, I just haven't yet. And so this is the one we're gonna start with first. And so this is a series that has Studio Ghibli vibes and Final Fantasy VII vibes. And the first one was very much a warm-hearted fantasy, which is like my favorite type of YA fantasy. This first one was dual perspectives following our two main characters, Ren and Sunho. Ren is part of a traveling acrobat family, and one day her uncle ends up being poisoned by a demon, and so she heads off to try to find a cure for him. And then Sunho is a mercenary, and something happened to him where 2 years ago he woke up and he had lost all his memories besides his name. So he ends up getting a mercenary job to hunt down a girl who wields silver light, and little does he know that that girl is Ren. And the two of them end up running into each other when Ren saves Sunho's life, and so the two of them end up teaming up and continuing their journey together. And so this first one was just very cute and sweet, and it ended on a huge cliffhanger, of course, and so I am super excited to get into the second one and to see what's going to happen next. There's just like a cute, heartwarming family moment, and that's like one of my favorite things about the first book in this series, was just like how warm-hearted it is and like the found family vibes. And we're already getting some of that in the beginning pages of this book, and I just love that. So I'm here for a little reading check-in because I made it to chapter 16, page 150, and so far I'm loving this. Like right from the first page I felt pulled back into the world, and I love the characters in this world and the world itself. And just like the warm-hearted soul of this book is very much one of those fantasies where there are serious things going on and plenty of action, but just like it just feels so cozy and comforting overall. And one of the reasons it feels that way is definitely the characters in this book, especially our two main characters, Ren and Sunho. They're very much at their core just very kind-hearted individuals, and you just find yourself like rooting for them the entirety of this book. I love their dynamic so much. And just seeing how much they care for each other just like warms my heart. And in here, there's already been so much yearning in here too, and their romance has just been so good. And I actually wrote down some quotes that showed their dynamic and that just made my heart really happy, and so I'm going to share those. I don't think there's any spoilers in these quotes. So on page 62, Suno says about Ren, her voice was a song, his favorite one. And then another interaction between Ren and Sunho that I wrote down was on page 68. So Ren says, "I'll always keep you safe." And Suno replies, "And I'll keep you safe, whatever it takes." And then one last passage I want to read is from page 131. And this is Suno talking about Ren. "It wasn't just that he looked at her, it was the way he had looked at her, as if he'd been aware of her all along, as if there was no one on this field, on the floating world, more aware of her than him." And so those quotes just show like a little bit of just like how wholesome and sweet their romance is, and also like the yearning between the two of them. And then in addition to Ren and Sunho, there are also side characters in here that are very interesting and endearing as well. So far in this, we have gotten to see more of Ren's uncle, as he has like joined her on the quest in this book. And so I've really been enjoying his character and getting to see more of him. And then also we got some minor characters returning from book 1, such as Tag and Yurhei, who I also really like. And then there's also Ren's childhood friend, Jail. We get more of him in here, and actually we get some chapter perspectives from him as well. And so like overall, this book has just been so delightful so far. And in terms of plot and story, everything has been moving at a brisk pace, and I already don't want to put this book down. And there have been some intriguing things happening so far in the plot. And so yeah, so far I'm just having the best time with this book, and I'm so happy it has just been so easy to slip back into the world of this book, because I always get a little bit nervous reading the sequel or continuation of a series after not having read like the first one in a while. It has been, I think, about a year since I read the first one, and so I was afraid like I was going to feel like disconnected from the story, but that hasn't been the case at all. I've just been able to easily slip back into the story, and I think part of that too is because of the way this is written. It has kind of like referenced back to things in book 1, and so that has helped like refresh my mind. Hi, so I just wanted to give a quick update before I head off to work this afternoon, because last night I finished The Demon and the Light and I absolutely love this. This was everything I wanted in the sequel. It was perfect. And this duology is now definitely one of my favorite fantasy duologies. Though I was a little worried towards the end because there wasn't many pages left and there was still like a lot of things that needed to be wrapped up. But somehow this book pulled it off and did it really well. I really enjoyed the ending. I liked how everything was tied up. And overall, I just love this book. I love the characters, the story, the world, everything about it. And I really loved how it's just a warm-hearted fantasy. Even though there's like plenty of action and stuff going on in here, it still feels very warm-hearted and cozy and comforting. And one of the reasons why this book feels so cozy is definitely the writing style of this author, which I really love. And there was just so many quotable moments in here, and I wrote down so many quotes in my little strawberry journal here. Here are just like some of them. And most of the quotes were referring to the main couple in this book, Ren and Sunho. I love them. I love them as characters. I love them as a couple. And so this book gets all the stars. So the next book I'm going to read is Three Shattered Souls. So this is the third and final book in a trilogy. The first book is Five Broken Blades, which I read and loved, and I actually have a reading vlog for this book up on my channel, so I'll link it down below if you're interested in knowing more about my thoughts on this one. And the second book is Four Ruined Realms, which I read and also really enjoyed, although the way this one ended is the reason why I haven't picked this one up, because some things happened in this. One thing in particular that I'm still like kind of not over, and I'm like, did that really just happen? But now's the time. I'm going to finally finish the series, even though I am scared. I'm also nervous about what's going to happen to my favorite couple in here, because they also did not end on a good note in the last book. So I'm just bracing myself for a lot of pain and heartbreak in this one, but I'm hoping everything will turn out well. I hope. But in case you're not familiar with this series, we follow a handful of characters who are trying to take down the God King of this world. And all these characters come from different walks of life and have different specialties. So there's a spy, an assassin, a hitman, an exiled relative of the king. And so all these individuals come together to try to take down the king. And the books are multi-perspective, and they're fast-paced and full of action. So I have made it to chapter 54, page 279. So I'm more than halfway through now. So I wanted to give an update before I head off to work this afternoon. And so far, I'm really enjoying this. This one picks up right where the last one left off. And like the first two books, it's been fast-paced, action-packed. The chapters, like the first two, are on the shorter side, so it's really easy just to keep reading them. And so this book is like really bingeable like the last two. And we got some romance with my favorite couple, Eri and Rojo, in here already so far, and their romance has already been making me giddy. Like, I love the two of them so much. And just in general, it's definitely the characters that make this book for me. They are why I'm so invested in the story. And I just love getting to see like the relationship between our core characters, how it's progressed from the first book to this last book. So the first book, they're very much strangers. And now in this last book, you can tell that they now think of each other as family. And so that's just really heartwarming to read. And there is also, like, in addition to like character stuff, there is plot going on in this book that also keeps things interesting. But like I said before, like, I feel like the heart of this book for me is the characters. And so they are the reason why I'm so invested in the story. And that being said, I'm still super scared to see how everything is going to turn out because I fear for all of their fates. And yeah, so that's really all I have to say. I can't say too much because I don't want to spoil anything. And this is the third book in a trilogy. But my next update will probably be when I finish this with my final thoughts. It's too sad. So I just finished Three Shattered Souls like 5 minutes ago. I'm still kind of wrapping my head around the ending, especially the epilogue. But overall, I really enjoyed this. I thought it was a very good conclusion to the series, and I was happy with how many things ended up turning out in here. I thought the whole plot was handled very well. I liked how that was resolved. I really enjoyed a lot of the character moments in here that we got with our core characters and my favorite characters, and also the romance bits that we got in here too, especially with my favorite couple. The only thing I have a problem with is the epilogue, and one thing in particular that happened that I'm not gonna say because of spoiler, but that was the one thing I didn't like, that certain thing that happened, and then how the epilogue ended. And I didn't like that thing in the epilogue because it's just a very personal preference to me why I didn't like that. I do understand why that thing happened, but that doesn't mean I have to like it. And so I'm giving this 4 stars. I can't give it 5 because of that one thing that happened and the epilogue. But again, my rating is a very personal rating. And also mostly I read for enjoyment, so my rating very much reflects that as well. But like I said, overall, I did really enjoy this one. I had a really good time with it. It was definitely super exciting, and these books just take you for a ride. And overall, on a whole, I really enjoyed the series, and so the series as a whole, the trilogy, I'm gonna give 4.5 stars, and I feel like it's a series that I probably will reread at some point in the future. And so now this is another series that I finished that I can check off my to-read list. So the next book I'm going to read is actually, unlike the first 2 that we read, is not going to be the conclusion to a series. It's going to be a second book in a series. But after reading the second book, I will be up to date with the series until the 3rd and final book comes out next year. And that book is Bloodsinger by Juliet Cross. This is the second book in the Fire That Binds trilogy. And this series is actually made up of interconnected standalones. So the first book, we follow a character, and then in the second book, we're going to be following one of her sisters. And this one takes place in a Roman Empire-like world, but in this world, the Romans are dragon shifters. And the first book in the series was Firebird. I read this one last year, loved it. The world of the series is very dark, but the romance in here was super sweet, and so that kind of helped balance out the darkness of the world for me. So I'm super excited to get into this one, and the love interest in this one is someone that we were introduced to in book 1, and I liked them in book 1, so I'm excited to get to see more of them and to learn more about our main female character. Hi, so update, which is that I finished this. I actually finished this over a week ago now, and so this Sunday I started it while I was at work, and then I read more when I got home, and then the following day, Monday, I was off from work, and so I sat down to read some of this in the morning, and I just read the entire thing. So I devoured this, and I wasn't planning to read almost all this on that Monday, but I did, and it was just what I needed that day. The romance in here was super sweet, and it just made my heart happy, and I loved both of our main characters, our main female character and our main male love interest. And so our main female character in here is Layla, and at the start of the book, she is not in a good position because some things had happened to her, and so now she finds herself as a slave to this horrible dragon shifter guy. Like, this guy is just horrible. This guy, he's just awful, he's horrible, he's abusive, and she has been there now for a couple of years, and she's kind of like lost hope of like ever escaping him and having a better life. But then she ends up meeting our main male love interest, Trajan, and he kind of gives her hope again of getting a better life. And so she does end up escaping her situation. And one of the things that helps her escape is she has these certain magical abilities. And so then the rest of the book is following her and the love interest and their romance. And also in the background, there is some politics going on with the love interest and other characters trying to bring down the emperor, who is also a horrible, terrible person. And while there are some politic things going on in here, this book is very much romance focused. And the romance, like I said, is very sweet. There is some spice, but it felt like the appropriate amount of spice for this book. It didn't feel like too much spice. And the story of our main couple in here is wrapped up by the end. And I like the note that their story ended off on for their relationship. And like the first one, the epilogue in here does tease our main female character for the next book. And at the end of here, there is a sneak peek of the first chapter of the next book, Death Rider, which is coming out winter 2027. And I'm very much looking forward to that one. And again, like the love interest of that one is also, we are introduced to him in this one. And so far, I like what we've seen of his character, so I'm really excited to get to see more of him and to see more of our main female character, which is another one of the sisters. But I also wanted to say that while the romance is super sweet in here, the world of this book is not. It's very harsh, it's very brutal, so just be aware of that if you do intend to pick this up. For me, the reason why I do enjoy these books as much as I do is because of the sweet romance, and for me, the sweetness of the romance balances out like the brutality and darkness of the world. And so like the first one, I'm giving this one 5 stars. So I'm gonna end the video here. I feel like it was a productive video. We finished 2 series that I was in the middle of that I've been wanting to finish for a while, and we caught up on another series. And so I hope you enjoyed this video. If you're like me and you're in the middle of many series, then I hope maybe this gave you some inspiration to continue some of those series. And I would like to do like another one of these videos in the future because I am still in the middle of so many series. And if you want like an idea of what series are on my list I'm in the middle of, you could check out my anticipated sequels video that I made last year for books that are coming out this year that I'm in the middle of. I'll link that video down below if you're interested in that. But thank you so much for watching. Until next time, bye!